So this is just going to be a 60-minute Hatha 1 class. We'll keep it pretty simple. I'm not going to necessarily use props throughout the class, but if you have props at home and you want to use those, please do not hesitate to. I do have my one student here, so I'm not just talking to myself completely. But yeah, I'm finding that movement and meditation are the only things keeping me at all sane. So keep up your practices. Take that time for self-care, and we'll make it through this together, but not together. So what I'm going to say is start in constructive rest. If you don't like that shape, you can be in any shape you want. But just a nice grounding shape to get started is lying down on your back. Your feet about as wide as your yoga mat. Let your knees drop into each other. Arms can rest alongside you. I like to just rest my hands right on my stomach here. And if it feels right to close your eyes, close your eyes. Or invite a soft internal gaze. And take this moment to shift, to begin to move into the role of witness, to give yourself permission to set down some of these stories and narratives from our daily lives. Begin to anchor your awareness to those experiences in your body that are tied to sensation, that feel tangible and true right now. So what are gravity's effects? Notice the way you are tethered to this space in this moment. Feel for the weightiness of your body parts, or even your bones as they are drawn downward. And allow the weight of your entire body to intentionally drop into and receive the earth's support. Let the earth hold you. Let the earth hold some of those things you have been carrying around with you. Feel for where you are in space. Draw your internal gaze along the curves of your spine. Then around the circumference of your pelvic bowl, of your rib cage, of your head. And how do those three big, heavy, bony, spherical objects orient, both along your spine's curves and in relationship and support to one another? Notice where perhaps you can soften. It might be the tops of your shoulders, releasing the grip in your hands. Let the muscles of your face relax, the hinge of your jaw, your upper palate, the roof of your mouth. And begin to anchor to your breath. First, as it happens, as the wisdom of your body moves your breath naturally. Notice your breath's movements and sensations. And then begin to invite intention to every breath cycle. So listen as the sound of your breath becomes steady, rhythmic, and wave-like. Let your inhales feel broad and expansive as they fill into your torso. And let your exhales be another place for your body to soften and receive the earth support. And your breath is your anchor, always, but especially as you practice to this moment, to your body's wisdom, and to your intention. Take a nice deep inhale and sigh out. 2 more like that. Go ahead and blink your eyes open. Keep a soft and inward gaze. Hug your knees into your chest. A couple little rocks side to side on your low back. And come to center, bring your palms onto your knees and draw some little circles on the ceiling with your knees. You can feel that little outline around your sacrum as you go, and then go in the other direction. Come back to center. Hug your right knee in, and first just set your left foot onto your mat, knee bent. Shoulders heavy and broad. You can shift your right knee out to the side a little bit if that's what feels best. And if this feels pretty good and you're nice and heavy and integrated on the earth, you can extend your left leg long on your yoga mat. Just easy here, a few steady breaths. Follow your exhales to completion. Good. And hug both knees back in. And left knee hugs in, set your right foot down. And it's always fine to hug behind the knee if that's what you have space for. Root your back body to the earth, and if you can keep that connection, extend your right leg long. If that creates a big buckling off the ground with your low back, then just set your right foot back on your yoga mat. Couple breaths here. Take one more inhale. And exhale, release your left leg long to meet your right leg. Take a big stretch. That really dramatic sort of stretch where you feel it in every cell of your body, and then stretch a little bit more. Take an inhale, big sigh out. Let everything soften and melt into the earth. Notice what happens when you let the earth hold you. And set the soles of your feet onto your mat, knees bent. Feet about hips distance apart. Don't overestimate that space. It tends to be about 2 fists. And hands come to rest right alongside your hips. Feel how the soles of your feet connect to the earth. And already here, from your knees to your shins to the soles of your feet, ground down. Slight tuck of your chin towards your chest so the back of your neck is long. A gentle imprint of your low back towards the earth, low ribs knit in and down. Keep that connection with your next inhale. Reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. Palms turn towards one another. As you exhale, stretch your arms into the space behind you with your thumbs rotating towards the ground. Inhale, float your fingertips back up. Exhale, rotate your palms down, bringing your hands to rest back alongside your hips. Stay with that pattern. Inhale, float your fingertips up. Exhale, stretch your fingertips back. Inhale, float your arms up. Exhale, rotate your palms down, hands come to rest. A few more here, very simple, but really notice you're keeping that sense of groundedness through the soles of your feet, through your entire torso. And your arms move as a result of your shoulder blades moving. As your arms stretch back, there's almost a feeling of your armpits hollowing out. And the next time your hands come to rest onto your yoga mat, pause and observe. Be just as curious in those little spaces in between of what might have shifted or changed in your body or even your mind or energetically. Good. Feel that connection of your feet onto your yoga mat. Slight tuck of your chin towards your chest. Reach your tailbone forward. Take an inhale, breathe into your back waist. Exhale, dramatic imprint of your low back into the earth. Begin to lift your hips and roll your spine up off the ground. Rolling up into a bridge position, this is what I call a Pilates style bridge. So rather than a big arch through your spine, integrated through the midplane. So there's a diagonal line from your shoulder heads to your frontal hip bones to your knees. And reach forward through your tailbone, lower down slowly. It's that idea of lowering down one vertebra at a time. It may or may not go quite like that. Flow through these if you'd like to add on. As you roll your spine up, float your fingertips up and into the space behind you. And as you roll your spine back down, float your fingers up. As your hips come to connect to your yoga mat, your hands come to rest right alongside. Let's go 4 more like that. Follow your breath. Remember, the movement with the arms is very optional. Working towards straight hip creases when your hips lift, but you do what feels right for you. When you're following your breath, listen to its sound. Last 2. And this last time you come up into your bridge lift, stay. You can keep your arms stretched behind you. You could press your arms back onto your yoga mat. You could stretch all 10 fingers towards the ceiling, so you decide how much support you'd like. You might lift your hips just a little higher. Press more firmly into the soles of your feet, so feel all 4 corners, all 10 toes connecting to your mat for 3, 2, 1. As you exhale, lower down slowly. And here, whatever you need to let that go. Maybe it's just letting your knees drop into one another, little knee swishes side to side. Come to your breath. Notice how your body honored your efforts. Moving into some contralateral movement. That's my favorite way to clear out my brain space. Really connect into your body. Start with both feet on the earth, knees bent, arms out wide like wings, feet about hips distance apart, palms up towards the ceiling. Slight tuck of your chin towards your chest, so you have length in the back of your neck. And as you exhale, find that bit of an imprint in your low back. Good. Inhale, pick up your right foot, knee over hip, shin bone parallel to the ground. Bring your left palm across to the center of your right thigh and find traction there. Press your palm into your thigh into your palm. As you do that, root your torso into the ground. And release. Set your right foot down. Bring your left arm out to your left. Left leg in tabletop, shin bone parallel to the ground. Bring your right hand across to the center of your left thigh. So halfway between the knee and the hip, find that traction. Use that traction to ground your spine. And set your left foot down. Bring your right arm out to your right. So inhale to prepare. Exhale to find that traction. And inhale to release. Good. Stay with that. And there's the breathing pattern I established. Most importantly is you are breathing steadily and your awareness is with your breath. Stay present to what you are experiencing in your body. Even if there's still some of that residue from daily life. Good. Final one here. Right hand across to your left thigh last. And both feet to the earth. Arms rest. Take a breath. As we move into this more traditional dead bug series, if you'd like to slide a blanket or any sort of little pillow underneath your low back for support, don't hesitate to. Pick your feet up off the ground, knees over hips, shin bones parallel to the ground. Send your fingertips towards the ceiling, shoulders planted. Bend your elbows to 90-degree angles so your fingertips point straight back behind you. Exhale here, find that imprint of your low back, lengthen the back of your neck. And next inhale, straighten out your right leg and your left arm so your fingers and toes point to the ceiling. Exhale, rebend your right knee, your left elbow. Inhale, straighten out your left leg and your right arm. And exhale to bend your knee and elbow. Stay with that. Inhale, extend. And exhale, come back, both elbows, both knees bent. Inhale and exhale. Good. 2 more each side. If it gets confusing, you slow it down. Good. Final one here. After your left leg extends, both feet to the earth, hands rest, and observe what might have settled. Now this next variation, we bring the leg off to one side, the arm off to the other side. This is a mid-plane exploration, so it can be very tempting to let that leg come far off to the other side, but then my opposite hip lifts. So less can be more here, really working on your whole torso staying steady and still, your limbs coming off of center. When you're ready, feet up towards the ceiling, legs straightish. If you need to bend your knees a bit, great. Fingertips towards the ceiling, arms straightish, palms face each other. Shoulders plant. As you exhale, find a gentle imprint in your low back. And as you inhale, bring your right leg out to your right, your left arm out to your left. Exhale, slowly pull your limbs back to stack. Inhale, left leg to your left, right arm out to your right. Exhale, slowly bring your limbs back to stack. Following that same pattern, your awareness is on how your torso connects to the earth, not how far your limbs move out to the side. Also listen to your breath. When does it shift or change dramatically? Notice if the muscles of your face or your jaw start to clench. That's a good sign you're working a bit outside of your working zone. And we need to keep all of the resources we have right now, right? So finding a practice that nourishes you and not depletes you. Finish up this final round. Left leg shifts out to your left, last right arm to your right. Pull to center. Both feet to the earth. Hands rest. Drop into your body, into your breath. Good. Final variation, reaching one leg forward, the opposite arm back. Watching here, same connection of your torso, not coming into a big arch in your low back. So find that sense of imprint. Send your feet up towards the ceiling. Send your fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale, find center, and as you inhale, reach your right leg forward, your left arm back behind you. And exhale, pull your limbs back to stack. Inhale, reach your left leg forward and your right arm back. And exhale, back to stack. So staying with this movement. I do not care, and nobody's watching you anyway, how far your leg is coming towards the earth. Still going for that place of awareness, steadiness, a place of security for your body. Good. Finish up this final round. Left leg reaches forward last. And then both arms come to stack, both legs come to stack. Notice here how you're feeling. Maybe you set your feet down, you rest and observe. If you'd like a little more challenge, as you exhale, knit your low ribs in and down, reach all 10 fingers behind you. Squeeze your legs together, engage inner thighs, and then you might bring your heels 2 or 3 more inches towards the top of your mat. Now check in with how you're breathing, how your body is responding, and you might have a little more space. Bring your heels 2 or 3 more inches towards the top of your mat one more time. And we're here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Next exhale, hug your knees in. And cleansing breath here, in through your nose and out through your mouth. You can rock up and down your spine here, hug your knees in, chin to chest, or you might just roll to one side to come to hands and knees, tabletop position. Find the steadiness, nice solid foundation. Your hands are as wide as the outer tips of your shoulder blades. Your knees are as wide as your hips. Press into where you connect to the earth. Feel how that recruits energy and support towards your center, and that integration from the circumference of your pelvic bowl to your rib cage to your head. Once you find that, begin to move through whatever movements feel best. So it can be cat-cow tilts, rounding your spine towards the ceiling, softening between your shoulder blades, extending your heart forward. There might be lateral movements you wanted to explore, bigger undulations, wrist therapy. So it's your time to establish that line of communication between your body and your mind. Create space in those spaces that might feel a bit sticky or stuck. Good, last 2 breath cycles here. With your next exhale, make your way back into a child's pose. Your knees can be wide apart or together. Let your forehead connect to the earth, your hips back towards your heels. If your hips don't reach your heels, that's totally okay. But soften, receive the earth support, and anchor to your intention here. And it's not just that intention for your practice, it's that intention that you want to move with you through all parts of your life. Come back up to all fours, tabletop. Press into the earth, let your waist hug towards your spine, and crawl your right fingers forward, little spidey fingers on the ground. Extend your left leg back, firm press into the ball of your left foot towards the back of your mat, and press into your right fingers, press firmly into the ball of your left foot. Feel center. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, float up your left leg and your right arm. Inhale here, and exhale to tap those back down. Inhale to prepare, exhale to lift. Inhale to stay, exhale to tap. A few more here like that. Now the breathing pattern I established is lovely. As long as you're breathing though, you are doing it right. This next time you lift, your right arm, your left leg stay. You can always decide, no thank you, I'd like to tap my fingers in the ball of my foot back down, and that's totally great. One more breath. Set your right hand, your left knee back down. Find center, notice right side, notice left side. Crawl your left fingers forward, little spidey fingers. Extend your right leg back, firm press into the ball of your right foot in the back of your yoga mat. Push the earth away from you. Take an inhale to prepare. As you exhale, float up your left arm, your right leg. And inhale to stay, exhale to tap. Inhale to prepare, exhale, lift. Inhale, stay, and exhale, tap. Staying with that action, follow your breath. See how steady your low back can stay even as you lift your limbs. Last 2. And this next time you float up your arm and your leg, stay. Take one more inhale. Exhale, set down your hand, your knee. Rock back through a child's pose. Relax your jaw. transition onto your stomach. If you love a chaturanga action, wonderful, high push-up, low push-up, any variation. If that doesn't work for your wrists or your shoulders, you plant your forearms and you just slither onto your stomach like a little snake. Make a pillow with your fingers, bend your elbows out to the sides, set your forehead or one of your temples on that finger pillow. And feel your breath move in your back body. Follow your exhales to completion. We'll move through a back bend progression. We'll start in prone mountain, which is not a back bend. It is a spinal aligner. Think Tadasana mountain pose, but you're prone on your stomach. There's some things in here I'll talk you through that feel a little bit counterintuitive. Just stick with it, and it's especially that shift of your shoulders towards the earth. I'll try to make it really dramatic, although I'm not sure what you can see or not see. So set your chin on the ground. Bring your hands along the side of your low ribs, but give your upper back space. So go a couple of inches to the outside of your rib cage. If your fingertips want to turn out to the sides a bit, great. Elbows point behind you. No need to karate chop them in. And begin to smush your shoulders down. So feel your shoulder heads press towards the ground. You might notice that your low ribs knit up as you do that. But now my neck is really compressed, so if I'm aligning my spine, that's not going to work very well. I'll tuck my chin to my chest until the bridge of my nose is smushing into the ground. Shoulders pressing down. And so that I'm not pushing my nose into the ground, with my neck long, I'll hover my face. Shoulders heavy. Think length. Reach forward to the crown of your head. Back through your tailbone, your pubic bone, your toenails. Once you're here, it shouldn't feel like a lot of work. Notice where your breath moves. Take one more inhale, and then exhale, release. You could set a temple down or come back into a cross in a crocodile pose. Make that finger pillow and observe. Come back into that same setup. Hands a little bit to the outside of your low ribs. Chin on the ground. Smush your shoulder heads down. Tuck your chin to your chest. Your neck is long. The bridge of your nose is smushing. And without lifting your shoulders, hover your face. Now feel from the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, you want to create length. So from that space, extend your heart forward. Little lift of your heart. Find baby cobra. Legs firmly pressing. You're finding extension along those vertebrae that attach to your rib cage. If you want to find a little bit more internal support, hover your hands. Feel the strength in the back of your heart. Relax your face. Take 2 more complete breath cycles here. One more inhale. Exhale, release. You can set a temple down. You can make a pillow with your fingers. How did your body honor those efforts? Same setup, final back bend. With your toenails on the ground, squeeze your legs together, hands along the side of your low ribs, smush your shoulders down. Tuck your chin to your chest, neck is long, hover your face. From the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, extend your heart forward, lift your heart, find baby cobra. As you squeeze your legs together, float your legs up like you have one big long leg into locust. Hover hands, or stretch all 10 fingers behind you, palms up. Think length here. How do you create space? How do you find the strength in your back body? 2 more breaths. Take one more inhale. Exhale, let that go. Either back to Makrasana or just plopping down. Can you feel that energetic shift at the end of your back bends? It's okay if you don't, just notice. Once you have observed, plant your palms, press yourself up to tabletop. And And then take your hands a good palm print and a half in front of your shoulders. All right, from deep in your side waist, push into your palms. As you feel that press, reach your hip creases back towards your feet, tuck your toes under. Keep this length in your spine, press into the balls of your feet, lift your knees. Keep pressing your hip creases back, let your ears drop between your upper arms. So you're in down dog, starting with bent knees. Good. Feel that press into your hands, broaden your arm bones, lots of space around the sides of your neck. And then begin to pedal and shift. Mount one heel down, then the other, little sways. If you need to shift anything in your stance to feel more secure, don't hesitate to. Remember here, the intention is to find length and space in your spine. Head hangs heavy out of your hips. Use the press into your hands to shift your hip creases back and send more weight into your strong legs. Take one more breath. And with a bend in your knees, walk your feet towards your hands or your hands towards your feet or a combination of those things until you are in a hanging forward fold. Take your feet as wide as you would like them to be for stability. Bend your knees as much as feels good and hang out of your hips. You can grab elbows, let your hands rest onto something. Any wiggles or sways that feel good, wiggle and sway. One more breath. Release your elbows. Big bend in your knees. Feel the weight of your hips over the weight of your hips around your spine. Roll up one vertebra at a time. Feel free to pad your hands up your legs for more support. Let your shoulders draw back and then your chin lift. Arms hang heavy from your ears. Feel your Tadasana here with your feet connected to the earth. Good. Palms face back, knees soft, just like we did on our backs. With your next inhale, reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. As you exhale, press your palms, soft knees, feet heavy. Stay with that, nice and easy. Feel a connection to your breath. Good. Last two here. After this, next time, arms heavy from your ears, feel. Good. And we'll add on. So begin to bend your knees. Reach back through your hip creases. Send your fingertips forward, sitting into a chair pose variation. Good. In that chair pose, feel your whole spine gently soften into the space behind you. Same integration from your pelvic bowl to your rib cage to your head. With your next inhale, reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. Doesn't matter how high, so keep that integration. As you exhale, push into your feet, straighten out your legs, press your palms. Similar pattern. Inhale, reach your arms up, bend your knees, sit into your chair. Exhale, press your palms, straighten out your legs. A few more just like this. It's your moving meditation. So you don't have to move at my rhythm. You move at your breath's rhythm. Last two. Last one here. And this next time, arms hang heavy from your ears, feet heavy. Observe. Feel the earth support you. And moving into our favorite, psoas walk. So feet hips distance apart. You can always go a little wider for stability. Really work on how you move from the earth here rather than moving from your shoulders or your head. With your feet hips distance apart, take an easy step back onto the ball of your left foot. For most of us, that's about a third of the way back on our yoga mats. If you have long legs, it might be a little bit farther. And melt your left heel down. As best you can, it points straight back behind you. Now shift forward, bend both knees, lift your back heel. Straighten out your legs, melt your back heel down. Your knees bend as you shift forward. Your legs straighten as you shift back. Couple of times like this, same stacking rib cage over your pelvis, head over your rib cage. The movement in your ankles and the sole of your left foot. And this next time you shift forward, both knees bent, stay. Right foot is firmly planted, bend your right knee just a little bit more. Square your hips, hug back with your right outer hip as you roll your left outer hip forward. Slowly melt your left heel down as best you can, point it straight behind you. Lift your frontal hip bones, already feel that tug. Find a little more tug, reach all 10 fingers high. Breathing here. Good. And a little add on, bring your right hand to your right hip, cactus your left elbow. Knit your front ribs in and feel that lift through your frontal hip bones. Keep that connection and stretch your left fingers across to your right. Good, now crawl those fingers up a little higher. Good, feel how that connects into your hip flexor, and then a little higher. Just a little higher. Reach those left fingers high, right fingers high. Take an inhale, exhale, hands to your heart. Pick up your back heel. Step forward. First side, notice that difference. Right side, left side. And it's okay if you feel no difference at all. Hands onto your hips. Nice step back onto the ball of your right foot. Third of the way back is probably plenty. Even press across the ball of your foot as you melt your heel down, it points straight back. You can peek. Pick up your back heel, bend your knees, shift forward. Straighten out your legs, shift back, melt your back heel. Stay with that action, just shifting your torso forward and back. Both knees bend as you shift forward, both legs straighten as you shift back, and avoid that big up and over action, right? So you're shifting your whole torso straight forward and straight back, like a drawer being pushed in, and then pulled back out. Good, final round like this. And the next time you shift forward, both knees bend, stay. Nice deep bend in that left knee, pull back with your left outer hip as you roll your right outer hip forward. Slowly melt your right heel down. Lift your frontal hip bones, then reach all 10 fingers high. Feet heavy and connected to the earth. Your back heel is on the ground. And add on. Left hand to your left hip, cactus your right elbow. Knit those front ribs in, lift your frontal hip bones. From the bottom tip of your right shoulder blade, reach those right fingers as far as you can over to your left. Make sure your ribs didn't pop open. And then crawl those fingers up a little higher. Then up a little higher. Feel how that connects into your hip flexors. Up a little higher. Circle your right fingers to the ceiling. Reach your left fingers to the ceiling. Take an inhale. Lift your back heel. Exhale, hands to your heart. Step forward. Should feel more symmetrical. Right side, left side. Next inhale, sweep all 10 fingers out and up. As you exhale, soft knees, swan dive down. Engage your glutes. Hands to shins, blocks if you have them. Inhale, lengthen, find space. Exhale, release, bow, soften. Take a breath here in your fold. Root down to rise, reverse swan dive, sweep your arms out and up overhead. And bring your hands to your heart. Arms heavy from your ears. Observe. And moving in to some sumo squats. Heels in, toes out. Take your feet off your yoga mat and wide. Imagine I have a yoga mat here. Hands on your thighs. Good. So really firm press into your feet. Bend from ankles, knees, and hips. So we are not doing pliés, not ballerinas. My hands are on my thighs, but not for support. So don't lean your weight into them. Don't end up in shoulders and ears pose. Good. Give it a little shift. Lift heels, lift toes. Find a little sway there. And then press both feet into the earth. Raise, straighten your legs. We'll combine this with a breathing pattern. So as you inhale, bend from ankles, knees, and hips. Sit into your squat. As you exhale, straighten out your legs. So that's how your sit bones move. Inhale, sit bones slide apart. Exhale, sit bones draw back together. And that works with your pelvic floor. So there's that eccentric contraction of pelvic floor, concentric contraction. You can visualize that. You can do that hand motion. But most important is really connect to your breath with that action. Inhale and exhale. Last two. And this next time, sit down into your squat, stay. Hands on your thighs, shoulders soft. Just holding this can be tons of fun. So maybe you just stay here, connect to your breath. If you're looking for a little more challenge, pick up your right heel nice and high. Notice how that lifted that knee. Now, as though you could lengthen your shin bone, which obviously you can't, slowly melt your heel down. Imagine you can keep your knee lifted like it was. Now switch over, lift your left heel nice and high. Notice how that knee lifts, as though you could lengthen out that shin. Slowly melt your heel down. Lift both heels. Firm press across the balls of your feet. Breathe. And slowly melt your heels down. Straighten out your legs. Turn your feet to parallel. Hands onto your hips. Reach down with your tailbone. Lift your heart. Take an inhale. Exhale, tilt out of your hips. Hands can come to the earth or to blocks. Half lift, lengthen. And release, fold, any variation of Prasarita. So you can walk your hands alongside your feet, grab a hold of ankles. My favorite is down dog with wide legs, so take your hands forward, a good palm print and a half. Let your ears melt between your upper arms. Hips over your heels. Spine long wherever you are. One more breath here. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders, half lift, lengthen. Soft knees, either palms to the center of your thighs or hands to your hips. As you inhale, come all the way back upright. And step your feet underneath your hips. Relax your arms down from your ears. Take a breath or two. Moving into a little bit of a balance. So sit into chair pose, stretch your fingertips forward. This time you're not sitting as low into chair. It's very non-committal. Shift your weight into your right foot. Hug in with your right sit bone. Lift your left heel. Cross your left thigh over your right. That can be a single cross. Inner thigh squeeze. You can tap those toes down. That's a little bit of stability. You can double cross if you love to. It's not as functional, but I don't take things away from people, especially not right now. And then give yourself a hug. Wrap your left elbow underneath your right elbow, fingertips to opposite shoulder. Great place to stay. Or you could bring the backs of your hands or palms to touch. If possible, let your forearms split your line of vision. Thigh bones heavy, might sit a little lower. Your fingers might lift a little higher, but it's fine for you to just stay in that hug position. Take an inhale. Exhale, unwind your legs. Unwind your arms, sweep all 10 fingers out and up overhead. Hands come to heart center. Let your arms relax from your ears. Maybe there's that sweet moment of quiet after you balance. Maybe there's a lot of opinions. Either one is fine. Setting up for side two. Feet at a narrow hips distance. A little bit of chair pose. Stretch your fingertips forward. Shift your weight into your left foot. Hug in with your left sit bone. Lift your right heel. Find your balance there first, then crisscross your right leg over your left. Squeeze your inner thighs. Sit low. Tap toes down. Single cross, double cross. Give yourself a hug. Right elbow underneath your left elbow. Great place to stay. Or the backs of your hands or palms to touch. Squeeze your inner thighs. You might sit a little lower. Perhaps your forearms split your line of vision. There might be wobbles. Wonderful. One more breath here. Good. As you exhale, unwind your legs. As you inhale, unwind your arms. Sweep all 10 fingers out and up. And bring your hands to your heart. Arms relax from your ears. Listen to your breath. Always come back to your breath again and again. Sweep your arms out and up overhead. With soft knees, swan dive down. Half lift, lengthen, find space. Take a nice big step back onto the ball of your left foot. Set your left knee down right underneath your hips. You might want to pad this knee. Bring your hands up onto your right thigh bone. Torso nice and upright. So this is what I call pre-lunge, long line from your left knee to the crown of your head. Find length and space. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Stretch your left finger straight up. Cactus your left elbow. Just like we did before, knit your front ribs in. And then reach your left fingers across to the right. Really feel that rotation from your left shoulder. Take an inhale. Exhale, tap your left hand to your right thigh. Rotate the tops of your shoulders to your right a bit more. Reach your right arm straight back behind you. Think space across your upper back. Lengthen your spine. One more breath. Take an inhale. Exhale, turn forward, reach all 10 fingers high. Slow tilt out of your hips, plant your hands, lift your left knee, step to the top of your mat. Half lift, lengthen. Release and fold. Half lift, find space, big step back onto the ball of your right foot. Set your right knee down underneath your hips. Please pad that knee with a little bit of extra mat or blanket if needed. Hands up onto your left thigh bone. Try to iron out that right hip crease. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Reach your right arm high. Knit your front ribs in and down. Cactus your right elbow. With your low ribs knitting, stretch your right fingers across to your left. Reach as far as you can from that right shoulder blade out through your right fingertips. Take an inhale. Exhale, tap your right hand to your left thigh. Let that traction your shoulders to your left just a bit more. Stretch your left arm straight behind you. Straight back behind you. And breathe. Tops of your shoulders can relax. How does your breath create space? Take one more inhale. Exhale, unwind, turn forward, reach your fingertips high. Tilt out of your hips, plant your hands. This time, step back to downward dog. So I always like to give people an option here. Any final active exploration might just be shifting between down dog and plank pose, top of a push-up. Really use the connection of your palms and the balls of your feet. If you have any other vinyasa-like action you love to explore, don't hesitate to. And when you are all done with your active explorations, find your way to child's pose, knees down, hips to heels. Let your forehead connect to something, a finger pillow or the earth. Let your breath honor your practice. And when you feel that shift into restfulness, take your hands underneath your shoulders, push down into your palms to send your torso upright. Let your hips drop off your heels to one side and bring your legs out in front of you. So here, if you have a blanket at home, you could sit up on a blanket. Bring your legs out just a teensy bit wider than hips distance. And here, really use your glutes over your sit bones. So it's sort of that opposite action from what we've done in a lot of yoga practices, which is pulling the flesh away. Instead, really think of almost wrapping that flesh over your sit bones and feel that engagement. And give your thigh bones a little wiggle. Heels in, toes out, wiggle, wiggle. And come to neutral, so your knees, your shins, your toes all point up. And put a little bend in your knees, toes pointing to the ceiling. Feel that squeeze in the backs of your legs. Reach your fingertips high. Tilt out of your hips. Let your spine naturally round. And then as your fingertips reach the earth, begin to press your legs towards straight. Hollow into your back body even more and roll up one vertebra at a time. Becomes a fluid action. Knees bend, fingertips high. Round forward, legs towards straight, glutes engage, roll up one vertebra at a time. A few more there, and find that whole connection through the back of your body. There's a grounding here from your glutes, from your pelvic bowl. Right, and then this next time you tilt forward, knees bent, stay. Great place to stay here. You might set your forehead onto something. If you want to straighten your legs a little bit or a little bit more, wonderful. And then just soften and breathe. One more breath here. Good. Anchor down with your sit bones as you inhale. Come upright slowly. Good. Make your way onto your back. You can just plop down. If you like to roll down one vertebra at a time, wonderful. Do that. And bring your arms out into a T shape or a cactus, whatever feels best, whatever you have room for. Soles of your feet to the earth, knees bent. Take your feet about as wide as your yoga mat. Next exhale, find a gentle imprint of your low back to the earth. Let your knees swish over to your right, halfway, 3/4 of the way. Find that imprint, anchor your low back to bring your knees to center, then let your knees swish over to your left. A couple of times here, those little windshield wiper knees side to side. Bones heavy. This next time your knees drop to the right, let them drop all the way over. If you feel any tugging on your knees, you can play with how you flex your ankles to find a way to support that. And if it feels good here to add a little traction, you pick up your right ankle. You set that just above your left knee on the thigh bone, just adding a little bit of weight to create space in the front of your left thigh. Your gaze can be where it feels best, maybe over your left shoulder or up towards the ceiling. Unhook your ankle first, then bring your knees back to center. Feet are still wide, let both knees drop over to your left. Play with how you flex your ankles to find support for your knees if you need to. And if you'd like, pick up your left foot, set your left ankle just above your right knee on the thigh bone. The idea is to create a little space and lengthen the front of your right thigh. Gaze where it feels best. First, then bring your knees back to center. If there are any final movements or wiggles that would make your practice feel complete, don't hesitate to include those. When you're ready, find that shape that feels best to rest into. You might lie down flat, you could prop underneath your knees or back into that constructive rest position. If you'd rather be seated in a meditation, that is wonderful too. Eyes shut or internal gaze. Rest. Give your body, your nervous system, a chance to integrate what we did here today. I invite you to remain still a moment longer. These quiet spaces in between are more precious now than ever. These moments where you have settled into your body's experience, into this present moment, into the role of impartial witness. So witness what it is to reside in the tangible layers of your physical experience, and also those subtle layers of your internal landscape. Perhaps there is even enough space and clarity to witness that place that is deeper than circumstances, than words and labels. While we're in that space, a short breathing practice. So first, just watch your breath. And as you do, notice the length of your inhales and your exhales. First, without manipulating or changing anything. And stay with that natural inhale. So whatever count your inhale was at, let it stay there. And let your exhales first become one count longer than your inhales. After this next exhale, let your exhales become 2 counts longer than your inhales. And in this final couple of rounds, your exhales become 3 counts longer than your inhales. Let your breath and your awareness of your breath move with you. Slowly find little wiggles in your fingers, your toes. Let that move up through your joints, your limbs, eventually your body as a whole. And let your body stay soft and heavy. Use the earth's support to wisely transition up to a comfortable seat. You move at your own pace, no hurry to get there. And once you are seated, if you'd like, bring your hands to your heart. That might be stacking one hand over the other, or you press your palms together. And honor what you cultivated here on your yoga mat. We practice this here on our mats so that the steadiness, the compassion, the intention we cultivate here in this practice moves with us. We'll close with a cleansing breath. Inhale, fill your heart up. And sigh out your mouth, release your chin to your chest. Om Shanti. Peace to all living beings.